you're a Scotsman, is that right?
Yes, yeah. Mm.
Specializing in ancient history, living in Greece. So I
Mm.
can feel people shouting at me to ask you, um, should the British Museum return the Elgin Marbles?
Should they return the Elgin
Yeah,
marbles?
in
Um,
your view.
yeah, I mean, I think the whole game changed when the Greeks very cleverly constructed that marvelous museum, where they will be safe, in many ways safer than they are maybe in the British Museum. And so, yes, with many regrets, I think they should be. It is a problem. I mean, it's a very special case. That it's a very special case because the Parthenon is a symbol of Greek identity. I mean, it is the how can one say? I mean, it's the Colosseum for the Eiffel Tower. I mean, the Parthenon is associated with Greek identity, and far more deeply than either of those other two monuments I've just mentioned.
Yeah,
So there is a case there because of that. It doesn't mean to say that every other country can claim everything else back, because they're not things to do with national identity. Yes, the Turks immediately want the Pergamon altar back there, but that's not something that defines Turkishness particularly. It's evidently, I mean, it was a Greek creation anyway, long before Turks ever came into the peninsula of Asia Minor. So, I think it shouldn't be I mean, yes, in answer to your question, they should go back, and I
yeah,
think they will do. It's only a question of time whether they go, legally as a loan or whatever, but they will go back, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure. But that shouldn't open the door to a mass exodus and a lot of spurious claims for all kinds of things. There are certain things, the Benin bronzes, the Parthenon marbles, certain things, I mean, it depends on many factors. It depends how they were removed, under what circumstances, and whether, importantly, they are things of national identity or
yeah.
cult. No, let's not talk about nations because I hate nations. Cultural identity. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
there's three arguments I think that are out there for Britain not to return them. Two are
Mm-hmm.
particularly good. One you've touched on, which is if you have to give that back, then you've got to give everything back to
Mm.
everyone, and you've
Mm.
already kind of crossed that. Um, one that is sort of, I guess, slightly compelling is that if you're an American or someone from Africa or someone from Asia visiting Europe for the first time, and you've got 3 days or a week, and you don't have time to kind of go everywhere, there's value in lots of these things being in one place so that you can cover as much of European civilization as you can in a trip, basically, so that you don't have to you know go everywhere. So London is a natural place for that to be. And the other argument that I've heard, which is again not very good, is that it would require an act of parliament for it to be returned. Or it would demonstrate the kind of final end of Britain being a serious country. It's symbolic more than anything. Doesn't matter what it symbolises. Doesn't matter
I
the
don't think so.
its
Take the
importance.
Parthenon marbles out, and the British Museum is still one of the greatest collection of things and with didactic possibility anywhere in the world. I don't agree with that, and I don't agree with the second point.
The
What was
kind of
your second?
it's like the efficiency of having all these things in one place.
Yeah,
That's
yes. No,
yeah,
yeah, okay, but I mean, the experience of seeing the Parthenon marbles in the Duveen Gallery in London, on one side, the experience of seeing them in Athens, in the Greek light, in the Greek context, with the Acropolis Hill behind, visible from the museum. I mean, I agree. I mean, it's going to mean that some people are going to have to travel more if they really want to see these things. But it's so much more important to see works of art, if it's possible, in their context. And I mean, apropos of this, I studied the ancient Greek and Roman world at school. Okay, it meant nothing to me. I did it because it was part of school curriculum. But when I first went to Italy, when I went to Rome, I thought, shit, this all begins to make sense. It all comes together. And then when I went to Greece the first time and saw, what I was talking about earlier on, the sort of fragmentariness of the islands, the poverty of the natural environment, the rocks, the extreme light, then I began to, then I really saw what Greekness was about and what Romanness was about and what Italianness was about and all that. So I think there's an awful lot to be said for, as much as possible, seeing works of art, where they are. And within Greece itself, there's lots of discussion about whether works of art should be returned from particular islands, to Athens, because many more people are going to see them in Athens than they are on the island of Carpathos or whatever. But it's important that people go to, Samos, see the Samos Kouros in his hometown.
Thank you for watching this clip from the Meeting People podcast. To watch the full episode, visit the description or click on this link.